Hi, welcome back. A couple of things you need to know. You're watching Tech and AI Live New York. I hope you realize that. You're in the right place. In about 50 minutes' time, we've got a great panel discussion coming up on the future of Gen AI. But right now, the next session, driving profitability and innovation in industrial enterprises. And to walk us through that, I'm really pleased to introduce Kevin Miller, Chief Technology Officer for the Americas with IFS. Hello, Kevin. Welcome. Over
Hi,
to
Tim.
you.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Good afternoon, everyone. As Tim mentioned, I'm Kevin Miller, CTO for the Americas region at IFS, and my role is to help industrial enterprises, those focused on asset-intensive industries, to harness technology to deliver measurable business outcomes. Part of this conversation today will focus on some common themes you've already heard today, including data, governance, and security, upskilling of folks. But AI is everywhere in the headlines. But for industrial enterprises, it's not about the hype, it's about the impact. The question isn't whether AI will change operations, it already is. It's about how quickly and effectively we can embed it into the workflows that matter most in the industries that power our world. The key here is putting AI into the normal course of action for end users so that it's not a sidecar, which presents a bunch of challenges related to sidecar AI. Every leader and organization I speak with is facing the same reality. And that reality is pressure to scale growth while also driving innovation and meeting rising expectations, whether that's improving efficiency, advancing sustainability goals, address workforce transformation and the aging of the workforce, and many more. And these are not abstract challenges. They are shaping decisions every day. We know that organizations are facing pressure from boards and CEOs to do something about AI. Today, we're going to talk about how AI is not just a buzzword. It's a catalyst for that profitability and innovation within the organization. This is not about hyper theory, it's about real-world applications of AI. We'll explore why this moment is critical and what those driving forces are behind AI adoption. And more importantly, how leaders can close the gap between ambition and execution. Let's start today with why this conversation matters right now. Again, we often talk about AI as the future, but the reality is it's already here. Industrial AI is no longer experimental, it's operational. We see examples every day of customers trying to adapt to use AI to increase that profitability. In fact, adoption is accelerating at an unprecedented pace. As you can see here, it's nearly doubling in just 12 months. This today is the tipping point where AI moves from hype to hard business outcomes. This is not just industry chatter. These numbers come from our own research published in August of this year. The study was called the IFS Invisible Revolution Study of 2025. We surveyed nearly 2,000 senior decision makers globally, and the message is clear. AI adoption is accelerating, but readiness is lagging. Trust in the tech is a major barrier, and the skills gap is massive. This tells us something very important. AI isn't just a technological challenge, it's an execution challenge. And therein lies the opportunity. The leaders and organizations that overcome this execution gap will be the ones that transform AI from a cost center into a real growth engine. Here's why timing matters. 10 trillion with a T dollars a year is being invested into industrial infrastructure, rebuilding or hardening grids, retrofitting or modernizing factories, modernizing defense systems, expanding supply chains. Another 7 trillion is going into data centers to power AI. Global GDP growth is also accelerating. But here's the breakdown of that cost. All that capital is building assets and computing power. Almost none of it is being invested into the intelligence that will know how to run a factory, how to fix a turbine in the field, how to prevent a wildfire for a large utility organization. No one is building the control layer that connects them. But that's the link, embedding intelligence into operations to unlock the full value of these trillions of dollars in investments. Now that we know the challenge, while adoption is accelerating, execution isn't keeping quite at pace. At IFS, we call this the AI execution gap. Organizations are deploying AI, but aren't fully prepared for the implementation. They might be starting a project without a full scope or full objective for what they want to accomplish. They may start a project without fully understanding whether their data is in the right condition to execute said project. Our research shows three critical gaps, as I alluded to earlier: talent, strategy, and trust. 99% of workforces need reskilling. Over half lack a clear AI strategy. And less than 1/3 trust AI for strategic decision-making. Industry-wide, McKinsey confirms the same reality in one of their recent studies. 75% of all AI projects fail to deliver ROI because they never move beyond a pilot or a POC. Closing this gap is the difference between incremental gains and transformative growth. Industrial AI isn't about novelty, it's about reliability, safety, scaling, training. Success requires three things: deep domain expertise, which most companies have internally as part of their institutional knowledge, embedded intelligence, and then strong ecosystems to support that. At IFS, we've built our approach around these principles. First, decades of operational data and domain expertise across 6 asset-intensive industries. Second, thousands of pre-trained workflows embedded in IFS Cloud, not generic models, but industry-specific processes that work inside the flow of operations for normal users. We view this as AI not being the hero, but the enabler of heroes. Third, partnerships matter. We've heard some of that today as well. For example, our Agentic Loops platform ensures AI learns and adapts over time with 70 pre-built connectors to other systems and ecosystems. Our Nexus Black team delivers narrow, very high-value customization for critical workflows. Anthropic's Claude brings contextual intelligence into industrial settings. Our partner NVIDIA powers advanced vision and autonomous inspection using robots to go do very dangerous work in the field for inspecting assets. Siemens Grid Software uses IFS.ai to re-architect tomorrow's intelligent grids. This ecosystem is how we deliver industrial AI applied. AI that works inside the flow of work, not alongside it. And now let's look at what this means for the business impact. As you can see from that same IFS report that AI is embedded effectively enterprise-wide, it's delivering measurable results. Profitability gains and ROI beyond expectations, from predictive maintenance to guiding to sustainability. These outcomes are real and repeatable. We have embedded these flows, again, into the normal course of my end users' functions and responsibilities. They are getting guidance and assistance proactively with data and recommendations in context of the data they're working with. To scale AI responsibly and effectively, organizations need strong foundations. We've also heard today a recurring theme around quality of data. It's not just about the technology. Trust and governance aren't obstacles, they're enablers. They ensure ethical and transparent and secure, sustainable AI adoption. Reskilling is critical. Remember, 99% of workforces need new skills to thrive in an AI environment. Finally, leadership mindset matters. AI must be seen as a strategic growth engine, not a side project. These pillars create resilience and confidence, allowing organizations to innovate without compromising integrity. AI needs to be embedded into the work that the users do, not rolled out as a sidecar. Additionally, that AI needs to be transparent in how it arrives at recommendations and decisions. We must show the transparency, the logic flows, the graphs for how it arrived at those decisions in order for the end users to gain trust, to provide feedback to the AI, whether it's correct or not, and further continue that value build. Here are two examples of applied AI transforming operations today and the value they're delivering. First, manufacturing. The impact isn't theoretical, it's measurable. 72% of manufacturing companies expect AI to deliver tangible benefits within 1 to 3 years. Where are they seeing the most value? Product and services innovation at 38%, cost reduction and margin gains at 38%, and consistent sustained business growth at 36%. As an example, a customer recently enacted a couple of agents related to supply chain. And if you're in manufacturing, you understand that getting the dreaded email or notification from a supplier that materials are late generally sets off a very manual process of investigation. Can I get this same material from another supplier? Can I get it at the same price? Can they deliver it sooner than my original supplier that has now caused a delay? Lots of research, lots of manual calling, checking, researching before arriving at a potential decision to switch those suppliers. These agents, now deployed, act in concert to not only read and interpret the email, understand the ramifications and messaging in that email, but then go do the work to make a recommendation. It has the ability to contact me in a multi-channel communication strategy, could be Slack, could be Teams, etc. But it's asking me if I want to make the decision now of the recommendation it gives to switch suppliers, to update POs, inform those suppliers of the change. It doesn't do it automatically. It's just making recommendations for me to say yes, no, or provide more information. I always have the ability to click and see that logic tree that the AI has built. What have those agents decided on? What did they look at to investigate? Were the suppliers approved before it made a recommendation? What were the quality statistics of those suppliers as it's evaluating whether or not to make those changes? That's why embedded AI in workflows matter. It's eliminating that downtime during changeovers on the production runs. It's monitoring inventory. It's optimizing schedules, verifying readiness, and triggering changeovers automatically. AI needs to be embedded in every one of those steps, from design, including vetting materials that we might use in our products, through production and scheduling, through quality control, and even shipping and freight delivery. We now can deploy AI agents related to freight and delivery that tell us the best, most reliable, most safe way to effectively deliver that product to our customers in the right chain. Now, utilities. The time to value is fast. 64% of energy and utilities companies expect AI to deliver with results within 2 years. But the challenges are real. 82% say data complexity is the biggest barrier. Most companies and organizations have silos of data, some in old systems, some in new systems, some anywhere in between. How do we normalize that data? Which data stack is the system of record for our AI pursuits? These are all things best decided on before embarking on a project. 83% of those believe skills aren't where they need to be for wider adoption of AI. There's still a general fear factor related to AI that we at IFS are trying to dispel. meaning that if I can do my work much more effectively, much more accurately, that's benefiting me as much as it is the organization. So part of that AI initiative needs to start from the ground up to quell that eventual fear factor in terms of, is AI going to replace me? It's going to make you much more effective. No one wants to go out and do a repair in the field where I might have driven an hour only to discover I don't have the right parts to do that repair. Or maybe it's on a piece of equipment that I have not yet been certified on to do. We can eliminate sort of those false starts. We can increase things like first-time fix rate because we are analyzing the data of past work and making recommendations based both on sensor information we've ingested and analyzed, as well as the work performed on similar or like assets in the past. It's really putting that picture together in a holistic approach to make that best recommendation related to resolving it. What's the key enabler? Real-time quality data, as I mentioned. 84% of respondents agree it's critical to unlocking AI's full potential. That's why our approach focuses on embedding AI into that flow of work, turning patrols into detection machines, spotting stress fractures at 45 miles per hour, doing inspections of power lines before they can be turned back on after a black sky or weather event, auto-generating work orders, optimizing crew schedules, including with timing, SLA or service level agreement adherence, and skill sets and certifications. Same pattern across these asset-intensive industries. AI works inside the flow, not alongside it. Again, a lot of employees today are starting to experiment daily, hourly with tools like ChatGPT and Copilot, even Claude as a side. But using it outside the system that holds your data repository does not provide the context that you're looking for in recommendations of that data. For all of human history, industry output was limited by how many humans you could hire. It generally was a body problem. You could throw more bodies at it to help alleviate the challenge. However, that constraint has now disappeared. Our approach combines human experts, the folks that have the knowledge, the institutional background, digital workers, and even robotic workers into one orchestrated system via our Loops agentic platform. Humans make judgment calls AI can't. Digital workers run diagnostics and workflows 24/7. Robots can handle the hazardous tasks, whether that be hazardous materials, hazardous environments, etc. This is not about replacing 300 workers with robots. It's giving 300 experts the capacity to do the work of 3,000. We are now exponentially making our workforce smarter. We're enabling them with more contextual data to do their work more efficiently. No human wants to waste time, generally, in the work that they complete. Everyone likes to be more efficient, get the satisfaction of a job well done. This is what the AI enables. Again, not being the hero, but enabling the heroes, the frontline workers that have to work with these assets every day. One recent customer recently rolled out an agent to optimize the location of spare parts. This was across 120 warehouses, with each warehouse stocking up to 40,000 parts. These were both static warehouses, some 3PLs, and some mobile, van, truck inventory. This agent resulted in an annualized savings of more than $3 million. It reduced manual work, chasing parts, checking availability, shipping, optimizing the location of those parts for the best service outcome. MIT's recent research analyzed hundreds of Gen AI pilots and found that 95% failed. More importantly, I was curious to see how the 5% succeed. Most organizations in that larger pool treat AI as a generic tool instead of putting it into that flow of work. The failures come down to 5 gaps. No learning, no integration, it's too broad, no partnerships, and no ROI focus, meaning you have to find the right partner that can deliver the outcome you're looking for, much like we've heard in other presentations today. At IFS, these principles guide our approach. For example, our agentic loops platform ensures AI learns and adapts over time. It also comes with 70 pre-built connectors to other systems. We have to play well with others in a very secure way. Even Google's A2A platform, right, ensures that these agents are communicating with each other in a secure manner and in an ethical, governance-driven model. Embedded AI means intelligence lives inside your workflows, not in a separate app, not something else that your users or workers have to switch to. Our Nexus Black delivers narrow, high-value customization for critical processes, those shoot-for-the-moon type AI projects. Strategic partnerships with Anthropic, NVIDIA, Siemens accelerate that innovation. And we start with the ROI first, small wins that scale fast. This is how we turn pilots into production and make industrial AI applied a reality. And that brings us to the bigger picture, why this matters for the $10 trillion being invested in industrial infrastructure. Here's the paradox. The industries with the most to gain from AI, energy, utilities, manufacturing, defense, they're often the furthest from making it happen. Why is that? Legacy infrastructure makes integration complex. Data silos, regulatory constraints tend to slow that innovation. Operational data is fragmented across silos, different constructs of that data. And the skills gap is massive. Again, 99% of workforces need reskilling. 10 trillion is being invested in industrial infrastructure, but without embedded intelligence, that investment will not deliver its full potential. This isn't just a challenge, it's a strategic opportunity. Someone will crack this code. At IFS, we already are. And that brings us to the next question. What do leaders need to do now? We've seen the promise of AI and we've seen the gaps. Now let's talk about what leaders need to do next. First, once data quality has been confirmed, embed AI into those workflows. Put it into the normal course of work that those users are doing so they see the incremental benefits that grow exponentially. Don't treat AI as a bolt-on tool or a side project. It will not have the context for end users to deliver value. It needs to be part of your operational DNA, integrated into asset management, supply chain, service operations, and manufacturing. Second, build trust and governance. Users must trust the AI. They must read through the logic for how it arrived at recommendations and decisions. AI cannot just be a black box. Leaders need transparency, explainability, and ethical frameworks to make AI-driven decisions confidently. Must be transparent and secure at every level. Third, invest in talent. Our study shows 99% of those workforces need reskilling to take the most advantage of AI. This is not optional. It's the foundation for scaling AI responsibly. The next decade belongs to industrial enterprises that close the AI execution gap. Those who act now will lead in profitability, innovation, competitiveness, and resilience. Start embedding intelligence, building trust, and empowering your people today, because the future isn't coming, it's already here. Thank you very much.
Insightful, and the way you present it was just so easy to follow as well, and fascinating. And I just love the fact you ended on what for me is the most important point, which is the people. It's the people, stupid. Absolutely. So thank you for that. Absolutely brilliant. It's great to have heard from you this afternoon. Thank you.